Did you pay off a collection and it's still on your credit report? Or maybe you was thinking about paying a collection and don't know where to start. Or maybe you just have collections and want them to be removed. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove every collection from your credit report today. Guys, stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, I'm Credit Coach Q, and I created the first cloud-based software that allow you to put your credit repair experience into your own hands. In today's video, I'm super excited because I have a banger. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove every collection on your credit report. But before we get to the video, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. It allows us to actually grow within the YouTube audience and allows us to get into the YouTube algorithm and allows YouTube to push this content to a wider audience and allows these lights to stay on. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. All right, thank you. So let's dive straight into the meat and potatoes. Now, we already know it's a new year. We have collections on the credit report. It's time to get them off because it is time for us to elevate to a new level of funding within our life. Now, that can be consumer, business, whichever way you want to go. You have to reach a point where you have to get these derogatories off. And guys, don't go any further. Today's video, I'm going to show you a full breakdown on how to remove these items. Now, before we actually talk about a collection, what is a collection? A collection is a piece of debt that's on your credit report that was bought by a collection agency, right? Now, before your debt goes into a collection agency, it normally goes into a default status, right? So you are going to normally get late payments acquired before the account go into a default status. So a collection not only brings down the credit profile because of the derogatory mark, which is the collection, but the history that is generated, which is the late payments that was accumulated during the collection in defaulted status, is a big weight on the profile as well. So that's why you have to remove them in full. We cannot pay these items off because when you pay the items off, they do not remove it. Let me repeat that. When you pay the items off, they do not remove it. I'm gonna tell you why. When you pay items off, you have to understand that you are giving the credit bureaus leverage. Now, from what I've heard, they have to pay to put things on your credit report and pay to take things off. It's not a free institution. Now, when they pay to take things off, it's not normally in their business model to do that when they're in their will-giving right to leave it on the credit report. When you pay into these collections, you are basically telling the credit bureaus, you're telling the creditors, you're telling the FCRA, you're telling everyone that has anything to do with this debt that you are 100% satisfied with the placement of the debt on your credit report. So when you pay it off, you have to get what is called a pay for delete. A pay for delete is a item that is basically a document that states that they're going to remove it in full instead of update it to a paid status, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to update it to a paid status. They're not going to remove it. They're just going to update it to a paid status. But that doesn't help your profile, doesn't help your credit score, doesn't help really anything dealing with credit outside of the relationship with them. It helps the relationship with them because they're not going to call you anymore, but it's not going to help the relationship that you have with the credit bureaus or your credit profile because of the history. The history is still there. So just because they update it to a paid amount, now you might need that document. A lot of clients come in and say, I have an apartment. I just want to update this because my apartment just say I have to have this updated and it's shown that it's paid, and then I'll be able to get the apartment. If that's the case, then do that. But this is not about your apartment. This is about your credit profile and how it looks there. Now, repaying it does not help unless you are fixing the relationship with them. And if it's a collection account that has a high balance, you're probably going to want to fix the relationship because you could potentially go down a path where they're filing with the county and getting judgments and things like that. So depending on the collection account, you want to make sure that you do this delicately. Now, rewinding back to what a collection is. Now, when the collection actually go into a default status, they normally do what is called a charge off on the debt. Now, a charge off is a piece of debt where they're basically getting a tax write-off on the debt. So when you do not pay on this debt, they basically tell the IRS, okay, we owe this amount, but we can't pay the full amount because they owe us as well. So if they owe the IRS $1,700 and you owe the collection agency $700, they would not pay the 17 to the IRS. They will actually write the 7 off and only pay them $1,000, and the 7 will be written off, and your account would be charged off. So that is essentially what a charge off is. Now, once they do that, your charge off balance is supposed to be 0. That's the first note. 0 balances is what you're supposed to look for when it comes to charge off placements on the credit report. You want to make sure that it has a 0 balance. If it's showing a balance at all, if it's showing a 0 balance one place, another place, you want to screenshot and highlight the credit reports, all 3 of them, and show the inconsistency and send a highlighted inconsistency to the credit bureau along with your dispute letter. Now, I am jumping the gun a little bit. I do want to make sure I give you guys as much detail as possible as I go along with the video. Now, another thing, you never want to admit to the debt. You never want, because the burden of proof is not on you. The burden of proof is 100% on them. So you want to make sure that it stays on them. You don't want to make their job easier. You want them to spend as much money as possible investigating this debt, to the point where they just remove it and say it's not worth it anymore. But you never want to admit to the debt, because when you do that, you take all of the leverage away pertaining to the debt. A lot of credit repair and how we get items removed is because the burden of proof is on them, and we use the burden of proof as leverage. And the more leverage that you give yourself in this process, the higher probability that you would for getting these items removed. Now, how to actually remove the collection account. The first thing that you want to look for when removing a collection account is the statute of limitations. Now, you want to look up the statute of limitations in your area, in your state, for contracts. Now, there's 2 statute of limitations that you want to look out for. It's a statute of limitations for placement of debt on your credit report, and there's a statute of limitations for contracts and how long they can go after an individual for a contract. Now, I do know in California, I think it's 4 years. I think in Texas it's 3 years. So you want to make sure that the statute of limitations within your state that has that contract with that creditor is compliant. Now, if it's past the statute of limitations, then that is a leverage point that you should use immediately to actually try to get that item removed. The more leverage points that you can accumulate during this process, the better. Now, if you do need any vehicle or any platform to actually go into this dispute process, better go over to mycreditapprove.com, guys. It is the website that I told you I generated specifically for you guys, to give you guys every step-by-step resource that you guys need to better your profile and to build it up to remove any unwanted items, whether it's collections, charge-offs, late payments, bankruptcies, you name it. Anything that's derogatory on your profile, our attorneys and our software has already generated systems and strategies where you guys can instantly remove all of those items, guys. We have strategies for bankruptcy removal, late payments, hospital bills, you name it. Go over to mycreditapprove.com. That is the one-stop shop for all credit and derogatory removals. Okay, now, like I said, the statute of limitations is a big thing that you want to look out for. It is a huge leverage point for getting items removed. When I tell you it's a godsend, you guys just don't know. Okay, so you have 2 different options. Now, you can go to you can hire a professional, or you can do it yourself. Now, My Credit Approve, like I said, it's a one-stop shop. So we have attorneys on staff that help you remove the items. We'll work on a profile in full, or you can use the do-it-yourself platform where you guys can actually go in and be your own specialist and do it and take your own time and use custom attorney-written strategies to remove the items yourself at an affordable price. Guys, if you found any of this information helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, it helps the YouTube algorithm, pushes us to a wider audience, and allows us to keep this content go in and leave the lights on. Guys, before I head out, I want to let you know, anytime that you send any of these letters, make sure that you send them out certified mail. Certified mail is going to give you the best option and give you guys a track record that is needed to make sure that none of these mails or none of these mailings are getting lost within the process of your dispute investigation. Guys, until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your credit. Credit Coach Q out.